So I made a recent video about the benefit Black Americans have with being innovative and being able to always add to our culture and how other cultures rely on tradition. But I do want to say how I think the lack of city and tradition is a double-edged sword for Black American people because sometimes the fact that we always have to do something new is holding us back. I've seen the conversation a lot about how R&B today is like it is because there is no gospel that is the foot stomping, hand clapping gospel, and in that gospel and R&B used to borrow from each other because there's a lot of CCM in the gospel in the black church right now. That's why we have the whisper music in R&B, because whether or not the people grow up in church or not, they're not getting that stomp clap where you feel something, and that feeling in gospel transferred to the feeling in R&B. And something that I realized is that because Black American culture creates the trends for Black Americans and others, Black American culture is trendy. And so, with trends, if we think of pop culture and all that stuff, trends are always changing. Trends always have to be new. So I feel like that's why in the black church, people sometimes roll their eyes at the stomping and the clapping and the shouting and the hooping and all this stuff. And it's just like, I sit there and think about when you go to like a Japan or Korea, because I lived in South Korea, are there people just sitting there like this, similar to how would you lose your black card? Like, I'm not sitting there thinking about how me not liking watermelon is gonna make me lose my black card. I'm still black if I don't like watermelon. I'm not trying to always find ways that people will think I'm not black. I just lean into the ways that I am black. And I feel like do other people in other countries like, oh well, if I don't like kimchi, I'm not Korean. Like, I just think they don't like kimchi, and that's it. The lens by which people look at the black church, and, for me as a child and as an introvert, when I was younger, I knew that probably never I would get to hooping and hollering and stuff like that. But I don't deny that that's authentic to some people. Like, we are different human beings. That doesn't mean I look disparagingly to the hooping and the hollering, because that's just, we're very expressive people. And I feel like sometimes, some people do grow up in the black community and come away with this, but I feel like sometimes it's people leaving the black community and growing up in the suburbs where it's not a black suburb, and they look through this Wahite lens and think, oh, well, they doing too much. And it's like, we do the most. That is our culture. Like, why do you not like that? And I feel like it goes into the ghetto thing of like, I am not embarrassed by ghetto people. I love all black people because I do not live in proximity to whiteness. I love every version of blackness. We want to like move on from things because, like, okay, we over that. That's what we used to do. And it's like, well, why can't we used to always do stuff? Why can't we still do it? Also, when, other people take our stuff, we feel like we have to create something new. It's like, why can't we sit down in our culture, take a seat, stay a while in our culture? We always have to do something new because Black American culture is a trend. We kept a lot, but I think as Black Americans, tradition would be a benefit, because when I was reading the books on culture, culture is how you get your norms, your values, how you navigate life. Sometimes because we're always changing and it's trendy, we don't have these values that are through lines, because the more we integrate, the more we want to become rich and go live with them, the less we actually practice what we practiced when there was segregation and when we were all together. That's why we've all been on the same page no matter what household we grew up in, was because we were all still around each other and we still had those same practices that we took from Africa, for some of us who have indigenous heritage. Even like if you think about, jumping in a broom can be traced to West Africa, but it could also be traced to Scotland. So, some of the European that we have in ourselves, Like, we need to, like, take a seat. We need to sit down and stay a while in our culture and stop trying to shoo everything. Like, why can't we still have stomp and clap? Different things of our culture where we just like, oh well, that's the way they did it. Like, but what was wrong with it? What was wrong?